Overwatch has just dropped its biggest update in ever. This is actually sick, and I think this game is going to do really well. This is a great platform for the game's future. But there's a bit of drama, and I'm going to show you this because it's kind of crazy, really. But there's a reason for this, and the reason is money. Let me show you. Okay, this is Anran from the animated short hero introduction for Wu Yang, who's of course her brother. Now you can see the in-game model. And you can see the concept art, I guess. Is it really concept art? I don't know. The animation art, let's say, of the character. Now, obviously, these don't look the same. And this has sparked a whole debate as to what's actually going on here with Overwatch and these character models. So this Reddit post, again, will show you the difference between these two characters. Anran, obviously, is the new character. And by the way, I've got to say this. Anran is fucking sick to play. They've basically made a new version of Genji. So if you like playing Genji, you'll really like Anran. So it's such a cool character. But anyway, if you look at this, obviously, it's quite clear again, right? Look, like the nose, the whole side profile. This looks totally different, yeah? Now, obviously, you can see comparisons with heroes like Kiriko and Juno. But I think this comment made me laugh. She's had a rhinoplasty sponsored by the Overwatch team so they could sell more skins. So this fan edit was put forward. And I personally think this looks a lot more in line with the actual artwork from the hero lore video. And I think it looks, it looks more distinctive, right? This character looks very similar to other characters in the game, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But you can see how far they've sort of strayed away from the art. Now, this isn't totally exactly the same, but I guess it is a more distinct design, and I think that's what people are really asking for here. So this video from Wallace is actually this. This is funny. This is really funny. Watch this, right? Just watch this. Watch this. So what happens if what the head? Before the video carries on, I'm just going to go back and do that again. So that's Anran, and this is Juno, but that's not Juno. That's Anran. That's Anran's face with Juno's hair, and that's Kiriko. I mean, I think she looks a lot more like Juno than the other characters. Maybe even a little bit of Diva there, but like, she doesn't look like May. No way. And then what's going on here? Hello, rivals. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, there's one more. Oh yeah, Torb. Of course, everyone looks like Torb. If only. Okay, so this from Overwatch Anonymous. They're obviously this shit's getting ridiculous now, implying that obviously, characters are all starting to look the same. So you've got Anran, and you've got Kiriko, and then you've got Juno. Like I said before, I think Anran and Juno are the ones that look a lot similar. Kiriko, yeah, but like it's a bit mad. So before I try and round this off, I want to show you something else as well, because I think this will probably highlight what is going on here. In fact, there's two things I want to show you. So this is the new Mercy Mythic skin. That's right, you've heard me correct. She's getting another Mythic skin. Now, there's obviously quite a lot of characters without Mythic skins in the game already. So what's going on here? But it kind of gets a bit more, well, not more complex, but I want to show you this as well. So this is Juno. Now, Juno's getting a mythic weapon, but what I want you to do is pay attention to the style of this weapon, because there is another mythic weapon which is very similar to this, the Mercy Mythic, which has this kind of little, I don't even know what, you got like a little buddy, a little friend. Can you see it on the back of the weapon? Obviously there. And again, the reason for this, I think, is quite clear. That weapon sold really well, so they're going to do the same thing again. And it's almost like adding a Labubu to the weapon or something, right? This will do really well. And again, it's on Juno, who does really well anyway for skins. So with that being said, let's, we'll finish watching this because the effects are quite nice. That being said, though, I think it's quite obvious what's going on here with Overwatch. And this is kind of a trap the game falls into. And it's always been a worry of mine because as well as the game does, it is pushed into a kind of like a place of it has to keep doing this or it will start suffering. So what the hell am I talking about? I think most of you have probably coined onto this already. Some heroes, what's known as high attach rate heroes, that means they've got high rates of players and high rates of, well, let's say a cosmetic high attach rate. There was actually a clip, and I can't find this. If you guys can find this, please stick a link to it in the video. Well, not in the description. How could you do that? But stick it in the comments or tweet it to me, actually. That'd be pretty cool, and I can stick it in the comments, in the description. There was a video where one of the developers, who I think is involved in Mythic Skin and skin design, from the spotlight, says to a streamer, and I can't remember who this streamer is, I can't remember it, but to kind of ad-lib what the dev was saying, it was like, yeah, we'd make skins for Hammond if we could, and Bastion, etc., but we don't get that choice. And I think what the dev's saying there is, we get told what skins to make heroes for. So when you look at this from a unscrupulous business perspective, you need to keep adding skins and cosmetics into the game for characters that generate the most money, because that makes us look good on our quarterly reports. Now, this is the problem with Overwatch's monetization. It ain't just restricted to Overwatch. A lot of free-to-play games suffer with this, where they tend to give their high value characters, let's say, tons of skins. And I think, obviously you're seeing the Mercies of this world, the Kirikos, the Junos. In fact, I'll show you the cross-collaborative Hello Kitty trailer, because again, this will highlight what I'm talking about. Actually, I'm not going to show you the trailer. What I'm going to do is show you this, right? So this is the Blizzard press website with all of their screenshots for all of their, updates and stuff. Well, they've got a section here for the Hello Kitty and Friends. And you'll notice that when you look at the sort of main image of this, the key art of this, if I just zoom in on this a little bit. Oh, I think I've broke it. Okay, maybe I can't. Oh, I can zoom in. Look who's in the middle. You've got Kiriko slap bang in the middle. You've got Juno behind her. Like, these are prime characters that are in pretty much every single cross-collaborative monetization thing that they do, because they are high attach rate heroes and they sell a lot of skins. Now, the other issue is when they're setting up these deals, they're going to approach a company, and that company is going to say, yeah, we want a certain number of sales. So again, that forces them down the path of having to do the same heroes again, because they can say, yeah, you could make skins for Junkrat and Echo and, Venture. Think of all the low attach rate heroes, Roadhog, right? But you're not going to get any sales. But if you do them for Juno, Kiriko, Mercy, etc., then you're going to triple, quadruple, times 8, times 10 your sales. So anybody at those businesses will go, yeah, we want our characters to be involved in that. And I think that's the problem Overwatch has got. So when you look at the way that they design skins, when you look at the way they design cosmetics, this is now being bled into the way they design new heroes. So when we look at a hero like Anran, I think it is legitimate criticism to say she looks very similar to existing heroes in the game. And why is that? It's for money. Let me show you this. Okay, this is a screenshot of the Battle Pass skins, and I think these are genuinely quite cool, right? This is an update to the Overwatch, like the Cadet Oxton skin. It looks like a more modern version. You've obviously got Genji with his face out. It looks sick. Like, these are updated skins. This makes me feel like Overwatch is going forward to the future. I like that. These are the current day modern Overwatch skins. Then, of course, you've got these Talon skins, which I think look really good. The Moira skin looks great, and the Vendetta one looks really, really good. That's a classic Gladiator skin, and obviously Mauga looks pretty good. But the point here I want to make is this. When you go to the shop, these are the shop skins. Look at what Blizzard are doing, right? I know this image is kind of a bit low resolution. I don't know what's going on here. But if you look here, this... You might go, oh, that's Kiriko. It's not Kiriko. It's not Kiriko holding a fan. That is Anran. So you see where this problem becomes, right? It's like, okay, where's Kiriko? There's Kiriko. There's Juno. These are like key components of almost every single shop rotation, collaborative event. And it's quite clear they have to be, because they're the ones that sell the skins. What does this mean for Overwatch, right? And why am I a little bit worried about this? Because I think as time goes on, you're going to start suffering from burnout. Now, unless they can somehow, I don't know, bring in a ton more players that are willing to spend more money on these kind of heroes, then maybe it'll work. Maybe they're happy with the money that they make, and they know they can keep making the skins. Because remember, they're going to have extremely detailed stats. In fact, their stats on this are probably more granular and detailed than anything that they do, because they want to know exactly what's being made money-wise. Now, I've got to stress, this is not the developers. At no point are any of the devs doing this. The devs don't give a shit about this. All of the devs that I've ever met are like, we want to do cool shit, we want to make art. If we've got a great idea for a skin for this hero, we're going to do it. They don't care about, oh, we've got to make it for Juno, she needs the 10th skin, or we've got to make a 3rd Mercy mythic and all of that stuff, a 2nd Kiriko mythic, etc. That is not what they want to do, but they are told by the management layer above, you need to make a skin for this, you need to make a skin for that. And the only thing I'll say to those people is, I mean, surely your job must be garbage, or your outlook on life's garbage if that's what you're trying to do. And maybe their ultimate promotion path is to go and work for the likes of Roblox, because that's what they're interested in. But I just wanted to throw this out there because I think it's an interesting point, because it's a bit more nuanced how we get to the way new characters are looking, very similar body sizes, shapes, and things like that. Now, there is a dev sort of interview that they do kind of talk about this, and it's kind of interesting, But I'm not too sure what to make of this, but let's take a look. So Blizzard dropped this interview, and they say, well, the title, it's over on GameSpot. Again, links to all of this in the video description. Yes, the Overwatch characters have been getting sexier, but not for the obvious reason. It turns out sexy heroes make Blizzard's life easier. If you've noticed Overwatch characters getting progressively sexier over the years, you're not alone, though Blizzard said there is an explanation for it aside from thirsty gamers. When Overwatch first launched in 2016, part of its appeal was wide-ranging roster of characters of all shapes and sizes, ranging from a talking gorilla to a robotic monk. Characters like Zarya and Mei broke the mold of what many people were accustomed to seeing from female characters. In 2026, while there is still the occasional oddball character like Venture or the upcoming Jetpack Cat, many of Overwatch's newer heroes like Freya, Vendetta, Wuyong, and Juno, as well as many of the new heroes coming in Overwatch 2 season... It's not Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2026 Season 1 are all what society would label as more conventionally attractive. Usually, they're all tall, skinny, and fit, which is true, right? So this is in part by design, though not for the reason you might think. In a recent interview with GameSpot ahead of Blizzard's Overwatch Spotlight, editor Jessica Cogswell asked Overwatch senior producer Kenny Hudson why exactly the game's characters have been getting more attractive and whether it's an intentional choice on Blizzard's part. And this is what he said. Something that we kind of look into when we're doing our heroes is how can we make them unique, but still give them a good platform, proportionally high scale proportion, to not only build cosmetics for them and future-proof things, but to stop the technical hurdles of other things. So one of the things that really helps with this is if you give longer limbs, taller legs, and a bigger core, it actually makes it easier for our artists to physically put new geometry on those models, and so that's how it kind of turned out. Hudson went on to explain how a complicated hero like Wrecking Ball had the team in crisis mode attempting to figure out how to make new skins for the character. That led Blizzard to focus on something, when crafting new heroes before restricting its creation pipeline and restructuring, I should say, not restricting, and learning new lessons that could be used to tackle more unconventional characters. Now we're in this realm where we can make more Jetpack Cats because we've learned all of these lessons. So, yeah. Obviously, there is truth in that, right? If you've got similar model sizes and the geometry work has been done for a certain character, then to have a character that looks the same as a new character, the same body shape and whatnot, then yeah, it's going to be easier to sort of copy and paste a lot of the things over. But I think that's kind of a bit of a weak excuse. I think it's obvious what's going on here. They're being told by the higher-ups, your new characters need to look like this. They're not passing art checks and passes because they don't look a certain way. We want them to look more like this because this will generate more money instead of being flooded with heroes that are totally unique and totally different all of the time, which I'm sure is what the devs would like to do. I think what they do is they kind of rebel in certain ways and they try and make their gameplay more unique, their first-person animations and their models and things like that more unique, and the rest of it is kind of like, there's a bit of give and take, I think, which it's kind of sad. Again, it's money issues that is pushing this. So this is a comparison I've been seeing getting made all over the place. I mean, this specific one has got a ton of interaction, like 1.3 million, if you believe the viewing figures anyway, on Twitter, of impressions. And the tweet, okay, Deadlock versus Overwatch, do I even need to say anything? It cannot be that hard to create unique, visually distinct face shapes and styles for women Blizzard. There seems to be a lot of good stuff in that new Overwatch update, but man, you'll really need to rethink your art direction. So, this isn't really a fair comparison, to be honest, because you could have put you could have Moira here, you could have Junker Queen, then you could have you leave Juno, then you could put Venture, and it would look more diverse than the one above. So again, it's just done for interaction and engagement. But I think this again does highlight how similar these three heroes can potentially look. Like I said, I think Juno and Anran, I think the case is, Anran doesn't look like anything she looks like in all of the artwork that we've seen prior. So I think that's why people are shocked. Now, it would be good, I think, if Blizzard sort of did come out and go, we're going to actually change the model and we're going to change it to make it look more in line with what you've already seen. If they do that, I think that's going to be a major internal win. Now, if they are, let's say, hyped and following what's going on about this sort of drama that's kicked off at the moment, then there is potential that they may want the kudos of fixing this and then they change it and update the model. But I wouldn't be surprised if they don't update the model and they just kind of carry on and keep moving. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about this, though, in the comments below, because I think it's an interesting topic. Now, there is one more thing I want to go over, and this is Aaron Keller. He has dropped an update on the website. Now, the reason why I'm interested in this is that I firmly believe Aaron is, when you look at the leadership members of the team, He's the one that's been in place since, well, he's been since the original days of Titan. But since the game become Overwatch 2, he was the one, I think, that he's made it his mission to try and keep the game together. Loads of unscrupulous, money-addicted, corporate ladder-climbing twats have been involved in Blizzard, right? And they've gone through the doors throughout the years, right? And you can see the impact they've had on the game if you go back and look at the different phases of the game's development. All the monetization strategies, right? Trying to sell heroes. It's just ridiculous stuff that they were all involved in. Those people have gone. The one that's remained consistent is Aaron, and I'm pretty sure Aaron has been fighting tooth and nail to just get the game to a point where it is now, where they can start focusing on actually making the game. Aaron always likes to say, "Mate, let's make a great game," and I think that's definitely what they're trying to do. So I think when people look at Overwatch, I think Aaron's, at least from my external perspective, Aaron's impact on this game is what's kept it alive. Yeah, it's been rough, but it's finally starting to go to the other side, and we're feeling like this is now the future for the game. And I think that's a massive, that is a huge, it's got to be one of the biggest turnarounds in gaming, right? An incredible impact, an actually incredible impact. Okay, so this is what Aaron says. Director's take, Sunrise in Gibraltar. And this is about a new era, as you can see from the subtitles. So again, all of this is about, we're here now, we're going forward, this is our game. Obviously, dropping the 2 is a massive component to this as well. So it says, hey everyone, how are you all holding up after that explosive spotlight presentation? Hopefully you're doing better than Winston's base of operations or Doomfist. Many of last year's director's takes ended with a wink and a nod about a bigger, bolder era of Overwatch that we couldn't wait to tell you about, and it's finally here. I can't say enough about how excited Team 4 is to finally let the jetpack cat out of the bag and show you much of what we've been working on. Let's talk about what all of this means for you, our story, and Overwatch as a whole. So moving on to a new era. If you missed Spotlight, be sure to check out the VOD or our recap blog to get caught up on everything coming to Season 1, formerly known as Season 21, which launches on Feb the 10th. This is the most expansive season in Overwatch history, built upon a foundation that's close to our hearts, a dedicated emphasis on story and lore, complete with 5 new heroes that will tip the scales on both sides of the ongoing conflict between Talon and Overwatch. There are new hero sub-roles, a massive UI UX refresh, competitive updates, stadium updates, existing collabs, and tons of other additions to get excited about. The party won't stop in Season 1 either. We've committed to releasing 10 heroes in 2026 to celebrate Overwatch's 10th anniversary, and you can expect more maps, more systems, and more features as the year goes on. Last year, as many of you said, that Overwatch seemed to be in its most competitive state. We agree, but we noticed as both creators and fans ourselves that we missed that connection to the world and our heroes. If you've been with us over the past decade, we hope this new story arc will thrill you. If this is your valiant return to the world of Overwatch or your first time hearing Winston's call, welcome and enjoy the ride. Okay, so right time, right place. A very valid question might be running through your mind hearing all this news. Why now? If we had this idea for a massive season full of lore and new features, why didn't we just pull the ripcord earlier? The obvious answer is that this year marks Overwatch's 10th anniversary, and it's hard to beat that opportunity to go bigger than ever, but the real answer is a little more nuanced. After we pivoted away from PvE content, which was, that was a massive moment in Overwatch's sordid history, or Overwatch 2, let's say. It took some time for us to find our footing and refocus on what we truly wanted Overwatch to be, a compelling, engaging FPS title all about core competitive PvP experiences. Perks added a new layer of strategy to our core gameplay, Stadium offered a fresh PvP experience, and little quality of life changes like a new progression system and regular patches helped us create a solid foundation to build on for the future. To be honest, we couldn't have done this a year ago. Throwing 10 heroes into the mix would have complicated our mission of establishing Overwatch as an FPS title ready to last another decade. Think of it like building a house. You wouldn't buy 100 paintings before the walls were painted, would you? We're pleased with the current state of Overwatch, and I think this is the next logical step for our team, our game, and our story to take. Now that we have a stable foundation, we can focus on elevating and evolving Overwatch to its peak potential. Now, I think what's interesting is this straight up admission, we couldn't have done this a year ago. But also Overwatch, when you think he wants the game to last for another 10 years. Overwatch hasn't really had, it's been out for 10 years this year. But I mean, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, then it basically stops content. And then you're in the doldrums for until 2022, basically. And then things start, with all the issues of the monetization, the state of the game, trying to get the balance right. It's a complete mess the game was in. It's been very rough. They haven't had this launch pad, which they've got now, to just launch forward. And I reckon we're going to see the absolute, I'm going to use the word launch again. That's probably some sort of broadcast crime to keep saying the same word over and over again. Whatever. We're going to launch forward, and now they like what is possible. They're set their direction. They're just going to go, 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 go. And obviously make a load of skins for Juno and Kiriko and Mercy and whatever on the way. Oh, and Anran. Our best is now. Something was intentionally missing in our Spotlight program and all the trailers, blogs, and story elements we've shown this week. A complete and total surprise that no one was able to decipher. We've dropped the 2 from Overwatch's title, and the reason ties deeply into our philosophy about the universe and the game going forward. I think more than anything, this is to do with the actual development team's mentality. They needed a reset. They needed to say, look, this is Overwatch. It isn't Overwatch 2. Forget that disaster. We're going to try and build this game. In some ways, it's Overwatch 3, right? When folks think of Overwatch 2, they may have a different game in mind than the one we have in front of us right now. That's fair. Lots of things have changed since we originally announced the sequel. But the presence of that number led to expectations and community discussion, whether serious or not, that Overwatch 3 must be coming. It created a mental framework which locked people into the idea that dropping a big sequel was the only way to truly elevate our game. I mean, I think that's a very diplomatic way of saying Overwatch 2's got fucking shit PR. Get this shit out of here. We don't want this shit. It's trashed with negative reviews. It's just get it out of here. Get it out of here. Anyway, this rebrand is more of a refocus, both for our team and our community. The title you're playing right now is what Team 4 is fully committed to. We're putting our time and energy into evolving always-on live service game, not a potential sequel with a release date years down the line. Our goal is to make Overwatch into the best possible version of itself with every update, and we're thrilled to have you along for that journey. Thank you for reading, and as always, let's make a great game. But I'm going to click on this because what are the comments going to be here? We're so back. We're so back. Okay, normally the comments are just like some random kind of comment like, I've been banned, can you unban me? Right then, so that is the Overwatch face drama. It is also I think this is the future for Overwatch, and I think it's going to do really well. I think these developers have shown that they can pump this content out. And the game, like, you got to think Overwatch is a very solid foundation as a game. The engine works really well and all of that kind of stuff. So they just need to plug the content in. And this year is going to be a full story that we're going to experience through cinematics, through in-game events, through new heroes. And then next year we get another story. And then the year after that we'll get another story. And they'll build on systems. They'll add systems to the game. I think it's really exciting, actually, for Overwatch. All right. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I'm very interested to see what you guys think, especially old-time Overwatch players, because I know there's going to be a lot of you out there, like me, that were like absolutely smashing original Overwatch. Then when Overwatch 2 came out, maybe we had like a year and a half, and then we completely fell off the radar because we're like, this ain't the game we wanted or were promised. But the game that we actually wanted was the original Overwatch, just with more content. But they never realized it was a live service game back then. But now they do, so maybe things are going to change. Anyway, remember you can follow me on everything, which is @Stylosa. Do leave a comment, that helps a lot. Like the video as well, that helps a lot. And subscribe if you did enjoy the video. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you soon.